Hello YouTube! I'm finally back from my almost 6-week holiday, and today I come to you to talk about the dragon that worked for Tiber Septim during the Second Era. But before we begin, I want to say that at the end of this video there's some important information on the channel's future, and I asked for your opinion there. So I won't bore you with it here before the video, but do keep watching if you're interested in the future of the channel. With that said, let's kick off with the video, and it feels very good to say that again after 6 weeks. So as I said before, today I will be talking about the dragon Nafaalilargus, the large red dragon who served Tiber Septim during his conquests, and who was described as the jewel of the Imperial crown. He is the first dragon to ever appear in an Elder Scrolls series game. To be specific, he appeared in the Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard, where the protagonist Cyrus had to fight him to obtain a special soul gem that the dragon was tasked with guarding. His name in the dragon language is meaningless as far as we know. This could either be because we know too little of the words of the language, or because this wasn't his name and it was just a nickname given to him, or an alias he used. As Nafaalilargus does not really seem to be a dragon name. However, I asked my friend NerdDragon, who is an expert in the dragon language, and he told me that it's likely that if this is his full dragon name, it's probably either pronounced like this in the dragon language, Nafaalilargus, or pronounced like Nafaalilargus, as each name in the dragon language is basically made up of 3 words. Most of those words don't really mean anything. Naf has a meaning of the, but the rest of the words don't have a meaning as far as we know, but it could be that that's just the fact that we know too little about the dragon language itself. However, we might actually know his actual dragon name, even if we don't know the meaning behind it still, but his actual dragon name might be Nafalar. This was the name of a dragon that made alliances with mortals in order to protect himself from the Dragon Guard in the early Second Era. This dragon allied himself with various kings and lords, with his last alliance being the King of Wayrest in the year 369 of the Second Era. This alliance with the King of Wayrest ended under the pressure of the Dragon Guard, after which the dragon fled, never to be seen again. But then, a little over 500 years later, another dragon who is called Nafaalilargus appears in historic records, who lends his strength to Tiber Septim in exchange for treasures, describing himself as a mercenary who worked for the Emperor. This all leads me and most of the community to believe that these two dragons are one and the same, and that the true name of Nafaalilargus is in fact Nafalar. This is because the names are quite similar and the actions of both dragons are quite similar, as they both align themselves with mortals. And we know that dragons are basically immortal, meaning that those 500 years between the appearances of Nafalar and the appearance of Nafaalilargus is basically nothing for a dragon. That said, there isn't really a great amount of lore on Nafaalilargus, as most that we know about him is confined to the Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard. We know that the dragon served Tiber Septim as a soldier in exchange for gold during his conquests, and that he helped him conquer Tamriel. We don't actually know in which battles he was used, however we do know that he was always a sort of last resort for Emperor Tiber Septim. He only sent Nafaalilargus in battle when he really needed a little bit of extra pressure or really needed to have something saved really quickly. One battle, for example, that we know he took part in was the naval battle of Stros M'Kai, in which Tiber Septim sent Nafaalilargus to aid his commander Lord Richten. In this battle against the navy of the Crown's faction, he really wanted to crush the navy. And in this battle, Nafaalilargus apparently did great damage to the Crown's fleet and even destroyed the ship their leader, Prince Ator, was on in a single breath of fire. Nafaalilargus was then ordered to remain on Stros M'Kai after this battle, and that's where we basically find him in the Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard, because he was there to aid Lord Richten. The dragon was to guard the soul gem that contained the soul of Prince Ator for Lord Richten. It was here in the catacombs that were filled with the gold that he was given for his services, where he was defeated by Cyrus, the protagonist of the game. After his defeat, his body did not actually disintegrate. This indicated 1, that Cyrus was not a dragonborn, and 2, it left the possibility for Nafaalilargus to be resurrected by Alduin during the Dragon Crisis in the 4th Era, or resurrected in some other time period. Although I doubt that Alduin ever ventured to Stros M'Kai, but we might actually hear of Nafaalilargus again in some future. While the dragon itself had passed, his deeds however were not forgotten in the Septim Empire, as there was apparently a ballad written about him and Tiber Septim and his actions. But by the time of the 4th Era in Skyrim, that ballad wasn't very popular anymore. We can hear this in some cut dialogue with Sven, the bard from Riverwood, who mentions that there used to be a ballad about Tiber Septim and the dragon Nafaalilargus, but that he never really bothered to learn it since people aren't really interested in it anymore. A final interesting tidbit about the dragon is that in some unofficial out-of-game text it said that the treasure had caused Nafaalilargus' downfall and that he was much greedier and significantly less intelligent than other dragons. Where exactly his love for treasure came from or why he was less intelligent is never really explained to us, unfortunately, but it's most likely that at the point of his appearance in the series, Bethesda wasn't really sure which way to go with the dragons and they just gave him a sort of stereotypical dragons love gold kind of attitude. All in all, I quite like the story of Nafaalilargus, especially since it allows me to talk about something else than the main line Elder Scrolls games for once in a while. I mean, especially an obscure one like Elder Scrolls Redguard's always fun, because I don't really get to talk about them very often. That said, I did a video on the story of Elder Scrolls Redguard back in year 2 of the channel. It's a bit less in terms of vocal quality than my current content, but it's still worth the watch if you're curious about the story. That said, I really hope that you all enjoyed this video, and I allow everyone to click away now if you're not interested in the channel update. So, like right now. Alright, so a while ago I posted a poll asking you guys if I should do some non-Elder Scrolls related content on the channel. A definite majority was in favor of it, and I respect that. However, I also respect the fact that over 30% of the audience was against it. That's still a significant number of people that are against this idea, so I propose a compromise. As I already said, I just continue with at least one weekly Elder Scrolls lore video, but on the side, completely at random, I can do some one-shots of other series. For example, I do one video on the Wolfenstein series' lore, and then a few months later something on the Legend of Zelda series' lore. And maybe a few weeks after that something on Fallout. And so on. Like completely random, non-scheduled, far in between and supplemental to regular lore videos, never replacing them in the schedule. How does that sound? Like, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments, as I'm genuinely curious and I don't want to, like, antagonize anyone of my current audience, especially since this is first and foremost an Elder Scrolls lore channel. So, let me know. That said, I hope that you did enjoy this regular lore video on Nafaalilargus. If you did, then I recommend subscribing and clicking the bell icon if you're still here and you're somehow new here. So you know when more lore videos like this one gets dropped, or watch some of my immense backlog of other lore videos, since it's getting a little bit out of hand over here. Before I close this video, allow me to thank my top patrons Bernardo Binda, Metalloid1v1, Hayden Barnes and Gabriel Binda, and of course all the other amazing people here on screen. You guys are the absolute best. That said, I will see you all in the next lore video next Thursday. Bye bye.